Hey, everybody. It's your main man, T-Square, Tristan Thomas. Welcome to this edition of Quick Toss for Week 6 of the NFL season. Packers season. Packers squared off against the Bengals at Lambeau Field earlier this afternoon, and they defeated those Cincinnati Bengals 27-18. Let's get into the numbers. On offense for the Packers, Jordan Love, 19-26, 259 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. That was a tipped pass. A tipped pass. In that instance, he was trying to do a little bit too much, and it was on the very first drive of the game. Packers were marching down the field. Bengals defense not really allowing anything deep, trying to prevent those huge plays, those big plays that the Packers have become known for over the past couple of seasons. They're trying to keep everything short, everything in front of them. Jordan Love was taking advantage of that, running the football, ended up with 7 carries for 26 yards. But then, third down scramble, was trying to do just a little bit too much, throws the ball. It's tipped, picked by the Bengals. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Josh Jacobs, who was sick, turns out, said he vomited before the game, during the game, and after the game. Said he woke up and just didn't feel his best. But the last time he told them that happened to him, he ran for 130 and a couple of touchdowns. Well, 18 carries, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 catches for 57 yards. I'd say that he was sick, and he was even sicker on the field. Matthew Golden, his best game as a pro, 3 catches, 86 yards. That third catch of his being the biggest catch probably for the Packers in the game, coming on a third down late in the fourth quarter when it was a 24-18 game, could not afford to give that ball back to the Bengals because a touchdown would ultimately beat you and an extra point. 3 catches, 86 yards, 2 carries for 16 yards. The numbers look very sparkling. And again, and Matt LaFleur said that Jordan Love played his ass off, said it was probably one of his better games that he's played for the Packers. I tend to agree, even that interception aside. I tend to agree. He really took what the defense gave him. For the Bengals, Joe Flacco, and I said this on Quick Toss, not Quick Toss, but Squared Logic, which you can see Thursday, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube at Toss Nation Media. I said I was not going to make the same mistake that I did with Joe Flacco when he was with the Browns, now that he's with the Bengals, that he was going to be statuesque. There's going to be a statue back there. And the Packers' pressure was just going to get home, and it was constantly going to drop him. Because that didn't happen. That did not happen. Joe Flacco, 29-45, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. He did take 1 sack. Chase Brown, 9 carries, 42 yards. And it wasn't even so much game script that did not allow him to get more carries. I'm not sure why the Bengals did not give Chase Brown more carries. He was running the ball very effectively. I mean, 9 carries for 42 yards. You're talking nearly 5 yards a carry. Jamar Chase, who really was not effective in the first half, came alive in the second half. 10 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. T. Higgins was sprinkled in there all game long, 5 catches for 62 yards. I think the Bengals did, when you look at what Jake Browning has been doing, and you compare it to what Joe Flacco has been doing, only being with the team for less than a week now, it's night and day. Jamar Chase, probably arguably the best receiver in the game, was nearly rendered useless with Browning under center. Enter Joe Flacco, as I thought, and again, I said that on Square Logic. This is an offense that features Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, probably the best duo at wide receiver in all of the league. But they've been rendered useless with an impotent, noodle-armed Jake Browning. It just was not working. And again, he had that sort of magic when the Bengals were missing Joe Burrow before, and he somehow made it work. But I don't know what happened between then and now, but it just doesn't happen. And when to go into your own division to get a 40-year-old quarterback. Now, granted, he won a Super Bowl and all that, and so he's Joe Flacco. We know the resume. But to go into your own division to get a quarterback at 40 years old, what does that say about Browning? Not a lot of good. Let's get to the defensive numbers. The Packers gave up 268 yards overall for the game. Only 18 points surrendered. Again, they registered 1 sack, no turnovers. On Square Logic, I said I needed this Packers defense to get turnovers. The Bengals lead the NFL, or led the NFL coming into week 6 with the most turnovers. And on the flip side, they also forced the least amount of turnovers, and they end up getting an interception against you. Speaking of the interceptions, let's talk the Bengals numbers defensively. They give up 409 yards overall, 27 points to the Packers, a sack, and a pick. I think this Bengals defense came to play. They made the game a little bit close. Again, they were trying to keep everything in front of them. There wasn't like a whole bevy of huge plays the Packers had. They had some, don't get me wrong. They did have some. But it wasn't the many that you're used to seeing. It wasn't as explosive as you're used to seeing it. I think the Bengals defense did a really good job. I think their offensive line did a great job. And the thing is, it's the worst line of football. Their line is worse than what the Browns was. Sometimes sports makes no sense. And how the Packers weren't able to take advantage of a worse line than Flacco had in Cleveland. And then it's still Joe Flacco. Like, yes, at least this time you dropped him once for Lucas Van Ness, and prayers up to him. You hope he's okay. He got carted to the back. Had his shoe off. Something with the foot, ankle, something going on there. You hope for the best. Both offenses really came alive in that second half. Really started to do work. Again, it was a 10-0 game at the half. Green Bay led. Bengals came out. Third quarter, burned nearly 11 minutes off the clock. Very methodical drive. A lot of quick, short passes, and that's one thing that Joe Flacco did do very well. He got the ball away very quickly. Packers, a team that like to keep everything in front of them. They like to get pressure on the quarterback, but that pressure really was not getting home consistently. And that's a few weeks now that we've seen that the pressure was not getting home consistently. Talking against the Browns, you're talking about the Cowboys, and now the Bengals. They got home once, but for as much pressure, and again, you go back and watch the game, there were a lot of holding calls that were not made. That's not an excuse. That's just the truth. It was blatant holding up around the neck, face masking, everything. So does some of that contribute to them not being able to get home? Sure. But overall, it is your job to get home when you get that sort of pressure. When you're knocking another team's offensive line back like that and collapsing the pocket, you have to finish the job. And the Packers have not really been doing a good job of that over the past 3 games. But both offenses really started to do work in that second half. It's like they almost needed some time to get warmed up. But the Packers really got hurt by the quick pass. I felt the Bengals employed a game plan that the Packers should have been employing, with the quick passing, running the football to kind of loosen up that defense and bring more players toward the line of scrimmage. Because, again, the Bengals were dropping people in the backfield. They had a lot more cover guys back there. So if you're going to run the football effectively, if you could get the quick passes, that's going to loosen up that defense, bring some guys down to the line of scrimmage so you can take those shots. I don't feel that, and again, you see Jacobs had 93 yards, so they started to really run the ball a little bit more effectively, which allowed Jordan Love to take some of those shots down the field again in the second half. I just didn't feel they did enough of that. The Bengals did. And it's kind of blueprint material on how to attack this Packers defense. Okay, we're going to go with the short, quick passes. We're going to matriculate ourselves down the field. Try to get points every time. So they're going to have to shore up that bit of exposure, so to speak. That second half, I felt as if the Packers defense let up just a tiny bit. Felt they did a better job of covering in that first half. They were swarming to the ball a little bit better in that first half. But again, the game plan kind of switched for the Bengals where they were using a lot of those quick, short passes. In that second half, were able to get themselves into Packer territory and take advantage and score. Felt like the offense kind of left points on that board in the first half. I think after that interception on the very first drive, it kind of took the wind out of their sails a little bit. And again, you have to give credit to the Bengals. You have to give them credit. They did a really good job defensively. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. The Packers did what they were supposed to do, especially in that second half. Offensively, I think they kind of let up a little bit. Defensively in that second half, but they'd done enough work in that first half with a 2-point lead to kind of give them that bit of a cushion to not be in serious jeopardy. But at the end of the day, it is a win. And a win is a win. You're going to take it. Sometimes it does not matter how, as long as you improve the following week, which I feel the Packers will do. It is a long journey. You're only 5 games into this journey. So all those fools out there complaining about a 9-point win, still on a train of firing Matt LaFleur, which is ridiculous. I'm going to need y'all to pump the brakes and stop. Just stop it. A win is a win, and that's what the Packers got. They are now 3-1-1 on the season. Week 6 action. They're back on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. We'll see what improvements they've made. We'll see if Kyler Murray will play next week in that game. He's been dealing with injury. We'll see if Marvin Harrison will play in that game. He left today's game with a concussion. They got some running back issues with DeMarcado going out. So we'll see who's available, but regardless of who's available and who isn't, you have to go out there and do your job.